Hi everyone, I'm live here today in my studio and I'm going to be loading this quilt. So if you have any questions while I'm loading, we can go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I've marked the middle and I'm going to start pinning. I do the pinning method. And my goal is to get this pinned on while we're on the live, and then I don't know if I'll have time to start quilting it today, but in the next few days I plan to go live as I'm quilting. And for any of you who didn't see the live the other day or haven't been on my Facebook page, I am running a birthday sale right now on my online classes, and you can use the word party girl at the checkout and you get 15% off any one of my regular classes, and those run anywhere from 4 to over 5 hours long, and all of those are pre-recorded. You can watch them anytime, and you can also download them. They're yours for lifetime access. So use that party girl code at the checkout, and then anyone who purchases a class, your name will be entered into a drawing, and that drawing is going to be on March 15th. And I'm going to draw at least 3 names, maybe more. We'll see how many sales I end up having for the birthday sale. And I'll be giving away free, I have 2 different mini classes. So if you haven't done those yet and you'd like to pick a mini class, you could pick either of those 2 mini classes to do for free, or you can pick one of the monthly panel and challenge classes that we're doing this year. So if your name is drawn, you'll get a choice of what you would like to do for free. Make sure you say hey so I know who all's watching. I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can. I do want to get to some quilting here. I'm going to be doing an all over design on this quilt, and I'll show you what the quilt top looks like here in just a second. Hi Marion, and hi Loretta. Thanks Marion, nice to have you guys on here. And then if you want to comment too, what is your method of loading quilts? Do you have the zippers, the red snappers, pinning? And also, if anybody would like to see samples from some of my classes, I'd be happy to hold up different samples from the classes that I've done, if it's something that you're interested in. The quilt in the background here with the stripes is from the Simple Borders class. And there's 28 different designs in that Simple Border class. I know a lot of you that follow are using Longarm machines, but I do also have a sit-down machine, and I have 4 classes available on the sit-down. Thanks for joining in, and if you just got here, I'm just loading this quilt and getting it ready for an all-over design. Getting my back rolled up, and then we'll pin the rest of it here in a second. Might have to move my camera here real quick. Sorry for the shakiness. Again, I'm just pinning this on, and it won't take that long. Thought I'd give us a few minutes to chat, because once I start quilting, it's a little harder for me to stop and see your comments and questions. I used to really dread loading a quilt because it seemed like it took forever. But it really doesn't take that long, and it does take a little practice at first. It definitely did take longer when I first started out. And but as you can see, I have the back almost loaded. I'm going to pin the second half over here. And a little proof that I'm a real quilter just like everyone else. I've got piles of stuff on my cutting table. I did my live the other day, and I pulled out a bunch of things to show. You'd love to see my class projects, Loretta. I did put a link. I hope hopefully it shows up there under this video, and you can go check out my site. Marion uses magnets on her long arm. Very nice. I have not tried the magnets. Someone had asked the other day, how do I do my teaching process? And I'll just go over that again real quickly. I do teach the designs on paper first, and how to draw and how to practice those. And so after I teach on paper, then I show it on the long arm or on the sit down, depending on the class. And I just repeat that process until we've gone over each of the designs. I do have a beginner custom quilting class, and in that class we go over multiple designs for each block. So I'm going to move you around here for a second. This quilt back here is from that beginner custom quilting class, It's a nice little wall hanging. I give all of the instructions for free on my site on making this wall hanging. And in the class, I give you 3 different designs for each block. So we go over all of that in the drawing process. And then in the end, I pick what designs I'm going to do on my wall hanging. And I show all of that quilting on the machine. And then for that class, I do have a panel that you can purchase. It's just a simple black and white panel of that wall hanging. So that is something you can purchase and practice on so that you're not trying to make the wall hanging and practice on it. You can just order the panel and do your practicing on it, and once you've practiced, then if you have time to make your wall hanging at some point and you're ready to quilt it, then you can do that. So that is something that I do have available. This is the quilt I'll be quilting today. It's similar to a rail fence. I'm not sure exactly the name of this quilt design. Just going to center this on my back. Let me know if you have any questions about the classes or about the loading process. And as soon as I get it all loaded and ready, I'll start doing some quilting here. If you are more of a beginner, then I usually suggest my Build Your Portfolio series. It is a great place to start for the online classes. We start with meander and loops and leaves. There's 7 different, or I think there's 8 different designs in that class. No, there's 7. There's 7 designs in part 1, then there's 8 in part 2 and 8 in part 3. So that is a great place to start. If you already have basic designs down, then there's lots of classes available for you as well. There's lots of feather classes, and that beginner custom quilting class is a really great one too. There's echo quilting. And right now I'm having my birthday sale, so you can look through the different bundles. There's a feather bundle, there's the echo quilting bundle, there's just tons of bundles to look through, and again, those are all 15% off, and you just use the code PARTYGIRL at checkout, and you'll see that come off before you pay for the class. And if someone could let me know, do you see the link to my site under this video somewhere? Because I did add it, but it didn't work the other day when I added it that way. And the machine I'm using is a Bernina Q24. And all free motion, all freehand quilting. Okay, Marion sees the link. Terry says to tap the 3 dots in the description. So if you don't see the link, try doing the 3 dots and hopefully that description will pop up. Thank you guys for checking that out. There's a couple of things I really do like about my Q24. I love that I can access all my thread from the front of the machine. I don't ever have to walk behind it. So I can put whatever thread I want and change it out right from the front. All right, Susan found the link, good. And also the handles on the machine are movable. I can move them up and down and in and out and change the angle. So I love having them down nice and low. It's a lot easier on my shoulders. We're getting closer. Get this one rolled up and we'll get the batting in here and we'll be ready to get the thread switched out and then we'll be ready to quilt. Susan loves the quilt. This is a quilt from a lady in my guild, Sue. I'm finally getting it done. I just have 3 different ladies that I quilt for in my guild right now. We've been meeting for 20 some years as a quilt guild. And so I still do a few quilts for them. But those are the only quilts I do for any customers. All right, I'm ready to open up this batting and get it put in. Gonna smooth this out a little bit. Okay, I'm ready to switch out my thread. This is Warm and Natural cotton batting. And that is mostly what I use on my quilts as well. And I'm choosing this dark tan thread. I think it's going to blend well with all the colors and it's not going to stand out too much from the fabrics. So I've laid it on there. I think that's what I want to use. I have a green, but it's a little too bright. I'm going to try this little bit darker brown and see if I like that one any better. I do feel that's the best way to decide on your threads is by laying them out and seeing what it's going to look like on there. And I think I do like that darker one. And let's see. A lot of times what I'll do too, if I have two threads that are very similar in color, I'm just going to use the little bit lighter one on the back. If I only have one spool of this darker one, I don't want to have to cut it to wind a bobbin and rethread. So this one's very similar, and so I'm going to use the little bit lighter one on the back for the bobbin. And my new thread that I'm just setting on here, I'm going to take the end of it and tie it to my previous thread that's already threaded on the machine. I'm going to tie those together and pull it through, and that'll thread my machine nice and quickly. So there, we're already threaded. And I am going to wind a bobbin. So I have that ready. My bobbin winder is on the side of this machine. I just thread my light thread through two different guides and down to the bobbin winder. Right now I'm using an Omni thread by Superior Threads. And I don't like to fill them over full because they can unwind around your bobbin case. So I like it full but not overfilled. I like to have 3 to 4 inches extra of fabric on the edges, sticking out on the edges, so you can clip your clips from the sides. And if that isn't the case, if it's smaller and harder to clip to, then sometimes this extra batting that's hanging out, once I baste the quilt, then I'll clip it to the batting, but only after it's basted. And the Omni thread is a poly wrapped poly. And I've used this for years and years and years. Sorry, I could have turned this other light on. I've got my hat on today. I'm heading out later. Sorry about that. We were up at 3 o'clock this morning to take our two of our boys to the airport. So it's been a little bit of a crazy morning. Whenever I purchased my Bernina, I also got 40 spools of the Isocord thread, and I really like it too. I haven't used it as much because I just got the Bernina a couple years ago, but I do like the Isocord. The kind that I got is more of a shiny thread, so sometimes I want shiny and sometimes I don't. The Omni is not shiny at all, but I like both of them. They both have worked well in the machine. I don't have a lot of extra room on the edge of this, so I'm going to try not to bang into my clip, and if I need to take it off, I'll just take it off. I have a basting stitch on my machine, so I'm just going to put it on the basting stitch. And since I'm ready to start quilting, I'm going to switch my camera around so you can be up nice and close, so just take me a minute to get that ready. A lot of people have asked, what do I use to hold my camera? My current method right now, this is a phone holder because I use my phone to film. It's a phone holder that would go on a bicycle handle. So I just put it on my quilting handle. And if you guys give me 1 second, I'll be right back, okay? Give me 1 second, and if you have any questions, go ahead and type those out in the comment section, and I'll answer those as soon as I get back. Okay, I'm so sorry for the delay. I'm here and I'm ready to baste this quilt on. And let me get my camera switched around if we don't have any questions right now, because once I get it switched, it's a little harder for me to check on the comments, but I do have my computer opened up, so I may stop from time to time and run over to my computer and see if there's any comments or questions about the quilting. So thanks a lot for being on here so far, and we'll get this basted and then we'll start with the design. Oops. Okay, it looks like I can't switch orientation. Since I've started in one, I can't switch to the other. And it may be a little bit of a bummer, but I think I'm going to go ahead and end this live and start a new one. And that way it'll be just the quilting. If you want to come back to my YouTube channel, you could watch the loading video, but then if you don't want to watch that, you can just skip over to the quilting part of this live. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this live and start a new one. I'll be back in a few minutes. And I wanted to mention, Susan said sometime it'd be nice to see how I tie on the new thread. So hopefully I can do that as I do the live here the next few days on quilting this. I'll try to remember to do that. And thank you for the questions and for hanging out with me. And I'll be back in a few minutes to do the quilting.